You're watching Telecom TV from the ETSI NFV 15 event in Nice. And I'm joined now by Marie-Paule Odini, who is Distinguished Technologist at Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. Marie-Paule, good to talk to you on Telecom TV. This is the first NFV event where there's been a dedicated 5G meeting. What is the relationship between 5G and NFV?
So we invited a set of industry bodies, so NGMN, IMT 2020, 5G PPP, plus having a geographic coverage as well. So we invited the Japanese 5G MF and also the Korean 5G Forum. So we had this good, industry representation, and we also wanted to invite academics because there's still, lots of research going on into 5G topics, and so we invited two universities, a university and a research lab. So we had TU Dresden 5G labs, and we had Eurecom. And so I think it was a good mix, and we got very interesting feedback, both from the business perspective and the technical perspective. And it was really to set the scene a bit, and as I've said, to really engage with these communities, to get an opportunity also to share with them what we are doing offline, to make sure that they know a bit our current status and how they can engage with us, and also to open up also the dialogue with the community, the ISG community. So we have a follow-up today to start the brainstorming on what people think about the next steps, the hot topics, and so on we should work on.
So what does the NFV ISG hope to gain from this?
Well, the objective is to make sure that if NFV is key to the 5G communities, that we understand the requirements, first the use cases, then the requirements, and we understand what needs to be enhanced in the current work that we have done. So the current specifications, do they need any update and so on? Are there any topics that we have not addressed so far, which are important, that needs to be addressed and launched and so on? So these are all the different aspects. And of course, this is ongoing dialogue and iterations. And we also value proof of concepts, prototypes, kind of closed loop as well with more real implementation. So we also hope to get, some of these proof of concepts, test bed and so on, from these different entities to be contributed to the ISG.
With regards to ETSI's overall NFV work, where are we with regards to Release 2 specification work and the forthcoming Release 3?
In the ISG, we have three set of work. We have some kind of reports, studies, and so on. Then we have specifications which are more towards standardization of certain aspects, interfaces, and so on. And we have the proof of concepts. So in phase 1, we did mainly reports. In the phase 2, we have what we call Release 2, which is very focused on the actual standards that we issue, mainly on interfaces. And then we have a set of reports, which are either related to these standards or, on a broader scope. And then in phase 3, we still have these kind of two categories. But in terms of the standards, we go to what 3GPP and others have called stage 3. So we really go into the interface specification, detailed specification. And of course, the overall objective is to get to interoperability with very detailed specifications.
So is this a reason for the forthcoming NFV Interoperability Plugfest event?
Yeah, the plug test, it's also timing-wise. NFV has been, wishful thinking for some time. Then people started to do prototype. Now we are in a more mature phase where people are actually doing deployments. And so interop testing is very important, which is why in the testing group, we have worked on testing methodologies, and we're working now on more interop test specifications, more detailed, and we have the Plug Fest coming, which is really to get different companies, different vendors, different entities to bring different components from the NFV architecture and to do interop tests.
We've spoken about the relationship between NFV and 5G. Within the broad context of 5G, you've got three areas. You've got the ultra-reliable communication side, you've got the mobile broadband side, and you've also got IoT. Developments on IoT are proceeding very rapidly at the moment. So is there a correlation between IoT and NFV?
Yeah, yesterday I met Patrick Guillemin, from ETSI, that is also in charge of IoT. We have a use case. We have reopened our use case specification document, and we have a use case on IoT. So there are definitely use cases for NFV and IoT outside of 5G and within 5G. So this is an important topic. We currently don't have any structured, I would say, relationship with the IoT ecosystem. But this is definitely a good point, and I'll keep that in mind.
So at the end of this NFV 15 meeting, what do you hope to have achieved?
So we are really wrapping up on a number of specifications that are part of this release 2, and a few reports associated a bit to this phase 2. We are also defining the release 3. So we have already done quite some work, but we will also complete a bit this release 3 definition and description. And then, of course, there is the output of this 5G brainstorming session, which is quite important. And there's a few other tracks. As we've said, in TST working group, one of the key items we have is to help build up this test plan for the plug test. So we are initiating that. We have other topics. We are still working on the alignment between the ISG work and OpenStack, for instance.
Marie-Paule, thank you very much indeed.